Hi my angels, it's Hailey Reese, and I hope that you guys are having a magical morning, afternoon, or night, whatever it is for you when this video finally reaches you. I am super excited for today's video. I have a little series here on my channel where we talk about twins and just shocking twin cases, and it's really fascinated me ever since I was younger, the concept that twins really share a special psychic bond. If you've been on my channel for a while, you'd probably know that when my mom was first pregnant with me, I was a twin during the first trimester, and then my twin didn't develop, so unfortunately, I never had the opportunity to find out what it would have been like to have had a twin, but it's always fascinated me. Actually, Sarah is a twin, and when she was younger, she could read her sister's mind, like they could literally hear each other's thoughts until they got separated in school, and then that gift kind of went away. But it's always been so incredibly fascinating to me anyway, and I hope you guys as well, because today's video is another shocking twin case. This is a true story about a set of twins that were so connected, not only in life, but even in death. And I'm really excited to share it with you guys. Before we get into today's video though, I would just very quickly like to thank today's video sponsor, Keen. Keen provides access to vetted psychics and spiritual advisors who provide guidance and insight on life's challenges, clarity in love, relationships, career, and more. Keen advisors are available 24/7, meaning there is always an advisor online. But if there's a specific advisor that you'd like to have a reading with and they aren't online at that time, you could schedule a reading for later. Keen is one of the most affordable ways to get in touch with an advisor, and once you're a Keen customer, you'll receive weekly discounts on readings, making it one of the most affordable ways to get a psychic reading. I've actually used Keen plenty of times, sponsorship aside, and I have met some really incredible advisors on there who got my energy and just really were able to provide guidance into my life and help me stay on the right track and get on the right track, which is something that I needed at that time. And the best part is Keen is backed with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. As a new Keen customer, you'll receive your first 10 minutes for just $1.99. So if you guys have any questions surrounding anything in your life, I will have a link down in my description where you can try out Keen today, get your first 10 minutes for just $1.99, and thank you so much to Keen for sponsoring today's video. All right, so let's get into this specific case. Now, like I said, I've kind of always had a fascination with these cases. I think it stemmed from the fact that when I was younger, I saw some sort of a true crime episode on TV where one twin was kidnapped and the other twin was able to close her eyes and zone in on what street signs the twin was seeing and therefore assist the police in tracking down her twin sister. And so when I heard of this case, when this case was sent in to me, I could not believe that this was also another case that was very similar to that one. So this is about two twins named Julia and Maddie. Now, the moment that they were born, they were absolutely inseparable, which is true for plenty of sets of twins. Not all twins get along that way, but I went to school with a couple sets of twins that just really, they loved being with each other more than being with anybody else, which is natural. From the beginning of their existence, they always had this person next to them. But everybody knew that Julia and Maddie had a very different type of relationship. When Maddie would have a nightmare in the other room, even from infancy, Julia would jolt awake crying and having had the same thing. When Maddie would have an injury as a small kid, Julia would complain of that injury. But all of these little things just led people in their lives to think that maybe they just wanted to be so much like each other that when one of them was feeling pain, the other one would pretend to feel the pain too so that they both had it, rather than them actually having the same injuries or the same feeling of that injury. They would say that they could hear each other's thoughts and that they could talk without anybody understanding them, and their parents just thought it was really cute. They would look at them and they'd be like looking at each other and communicating, like laughing and all this stuff without using their actual words. But again, their parents wondered if maybe this was just a trick they were playing or if it was just a silly little twin thing. They didn't think too much of it. Now, as the girls got older, they slowly started being able to play on their own. Up until like the first 10 years of their life, all they wanted to do was be with one another. But eventually they started having some different hobbies and being slightly different, and their parents thought that surely these little twin games they were playing up until their 10th birthday would kind of wear off, and eventually they would be their own individuals even though they looked exactly alike. On one particular evening, Julia was out playing at the park and Maddie was within the house because she'd been grounded and wasn't allowed to go outside, and so she was working on her homework while her sister played with friends at the park nearby. That's when all of a sudden, Maddie started screaming, saying, "Something's wrong with Julia. Something's wrong with Julia. I think she hurt her ankle." And obviously her parents were like, "Well, what do you mean you think she hurt her ankle?" And she was like, "We need to go to the park." And so her mother and her ran to the park, and Julia had broken her ankle. Now, this was one of the first times that her mother realized, hold on a second, there was no way that Maddie could have known Julia broke her ankle because Maddie was in the house with me. There's absolutely no way that she could have known. And when she questioned Maddie later on how she knew, she said she felt it and she heard Julia crying out for Maddie's help. So that in and of itself just gives you total chills, like at least for me anyway, just knowing that they had such a connection, both physically and mentally, that immediately she knew something was up with her sister, even though she was nowhere near her. She couldn't see her. You couldn't even see the park from their home. As they got older and they were in high school, they always knew when something happened to the other one. Whenever one would have her heart broken, the other would know right away, even if they weren't together. And their parents realized that this was a really special gift that the two of them had had. Now, something that the girls didn't know, and this is absolutely fascinating to me, was that their mother had had an older sister that had passed away before she was born. Now, it wasn't that the girls didn't know, but for some reason, the mother had never really talked to them about it. It was a really sensitive subject for her because she never got to meet her older sister, and her older sister had actually drowned in a lake by the family's house when she was small. So it was a real trauma for the family, and they didn't talk about this aunt that they would have had she have survived. So just keep that in mind as we keep progressing through the story, because when you guys hear what winds up happening, it's absolutely mind-blowing. The girls get older, they go off to college, and they actually decided to go to different colleges because they were studying completely different things, which is another thing that their parents found fascinating. The girls had different hobbies and they had different passions and interests, but yet they were so similar in so many ways and had such a connection to one another's minds. Now, unfortunately, at the age of 22 years old, Julia would pass away, and this absolutely devastated Maddie. She didn't know how she was going to go on. She didn't know what she was going to do, and she really felt like a giant piece of her was gone. I mean, this was not only her sister, this was her twin sister, and this was her absolute best friend in the whole entire world, whom she'd literally shared supposed thoughts and feelings with for all of those years. And so she fell into a deep depression, and one of the biggest things was that she felt as though she couldn't sense her sister. And she struggled deeply with this. She had to attend therapy. She just really wasn't well with the idea that her sister was gone. Until one day, all of a sudden, Maddie starts freaking out. She's telling her mom that she can hear Julia, that Julia's crossed on, and she's showing her heaven, that it's the most beautiful thing she's ever seen. And she's closing her eyes and she's saying to her mom, "I can see what Julia's seeing. I see it, Mom. It's beautiful." And at first, well, her mother's happy that she sees her daughter so happy because she hadn't been happy ever since the passing of her sister. She starts to feel like this is just a delusion. This is just a coping mechanism. There's no way that she's seeing heaven through her twin sister's eyes on the opposite, in a totally different realm. It crossed over in heaven. And so her mom's saying, "Well, what does it look like, sweetie?" And, entertaining the idea. And she looks over at her mom, you guys, and she says, "Mom, Julia's with your sister. Our sisters are together." Her mother's jaw drops to the floor, and Maddie looks at her and goes, "I didn't even know you had a sister." And her mom starts bawling her eyes out because the girls had never known that she had a sister that would be in heaven. And the fact that Julia is with her older sister was one of the most beautiful things she could ever hear. From that moment on, in plenty of moments in Maddie's life, she could hear and sense her sister watching over her. She says that her sister is her greatest guardian angel, and something that she really was saying was that when we lose our loved ones, they're gone, but they're not truly gone. They're physically gone, but their soul is everlasting. And it really just is a true testament to what I say about the fact that we are spiritual beings having an earthly experience. And though that doesn't make the mourning process any easier, I think that it does provide a sense of peace knowing that when we cross on, or when someone that we love crosses on, we will eventually see them again. And I just think that it is so magical. And actually, when Maddie's mom was asking her, hey, like, what does heaven look like? She said to her that, her sister was with her sister, but she said heaven can't even be put into words. I can't even tell you what I'm seeing. Just that it is the most beautiful thing and the most love, and Julia's gonna be okay. I don't know, you guys. When I heard this, I was just absolutely mind blown, and I knew that I had to share it with you guys. I know that we talk a lot about really dark things here on my channel, but there's something to be said for the beautiful side of the spiritual realm and the paranormal and all of that, because growing up, while I did have some scary experiences, I had some incredible experiences too, and that's where my love for the paranormal and where my real, like, deep roots in spiritualism come from, is just that there is so much more than what we could even comprehend or understand in this physical dimension. And I don't know, I love sharing the positive stories as well, so I hope that you guys enjoyed this story. With that being said, once again, I would like to thank today's video sponsor, Keen. All you have to do is click the link down in my description. Thank you so much to Keen for sponsoring. As I always say, sponsorship aside, I love using Keen, and I love sharing things with you guys that I really truly enjoy. So I hope that you guys enjoy today's video and that you enjoy using Keen as well. If you guys are new to my channel, or you are just not yet subscribed but you do enjoy my videos, I would absolutely love it if you would go ahead and click that subscribe button. And please give this video a big thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness. And until next time, I love you guys.